Okay, so here we are live once again with another DC Multiverse unboxing, and this is Cyclone from the Black Adam movie, which a very old figure because that movie came out a few years ago at this point, and I've actually had this figure for a while now. I went into a GameStop that's kind of out of the way for me, so I don't get to go over there very often. And they were having one of those sales on the clearance stuff where you buy one get one free on any clearance item, and they had two of these Cyclone figures still hanging around. And honestly, at this point, I almost just felt sorry for the action figure. So I went ahead and bought it. I'm like, I'm not going to say no to any Mcfarlane multiverse for for $6. That's too cheap for. If it was a Robert Pattinson Batman, I would buy it for $6. That's that's how cheap that is as far as a multiverse figure goes. So yeah, I went ahead and picked her up, and honestly, I can see why this figure is kind of a peg warmer because of all the costumes in that movie, I think this was probably the weakest costume. It's kind of goofy looking. And to be fair, I do think that this costume is at least in line with how the character's costume looked in the comics. But the changes that they made were just kind of changes that I don't know if any of them really worked for the better. But I'll discuss that more in length when I open it up. And what I think was the big problem with this costume design. What I think they did wrong with it, and maybe if they had have done this, it might have made this costume look a little better on screen. I think it still would have been a goofy looking costume, no matter what. Because honestly, her costume in the comic is kind of goofy, but it fits the character. So I'll get more into that. I honestly just TLDR, I think they made this character a little more bland than she needed to be, and that's not the fault of the actress either. I thought the actress did fine, so I want to make sure I'm fine on that. Bobby Wald says they need to come up with a commercial for some of these toys they can't sell using the sad Sarah McLachlan song. I'm not a bad toy. I don't know why I'm still on this peg. Yeah, pretty much. I saw her and the other figure because, like I said, I bought two of these. They had two of them. I bought them both. Uh, Through the eyes of an angel. Great. Watch me get like a copyright strike now. Anyway, there's some artwork on the back, and I actually like this design better than what actually wound up on the figure. The main difference is that this outfit doesn't have sleeves and has kind of like a swirly cape thing going on. But I definitely think that that's a lot more interesting than what they actually did in the movie. So let's go ahead and open her up. Now, the original Cyclone character in the comics was designed by Alex Ross, I believe, and her costume was kind of inspired by the Wizard of Oz and had some influences to it of both the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wicked Witch of the East. And one of the things about her costume that was she had these striped leggings, these red and white striped leggings, and they switched them out for generic 90s superhero leather pants, like she's wearing a Bryan Singer X-Men costume underneath her dress. And honestly, I think this is a character where they should have just embraced the goofiness of it and just made her into a goofy character. She's kind of a goofy character in the comic book, if we're being honest. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that she's in the comic book. She was kind of a very enthusiastic, very bouncy teenage girl. If she was a character that had been made into a live action movie like in the 1990s, I think she would have been the type of character you get Allison Hannigan to play. Like imagine the Allison Hannigan character in American Pie, only she's a superhero. This one time at superhero camp, she could be like that kind of enthusiasm. Maybe not work as blue as that character did in the movie, but she's still got this green dress, which is close to what she wore in the comics. But I really think that they made a mistake in just giving her these black leather superhero pants. So I would have, like I said, I would have embraced the goofy. I would have kept those red and white striped tights. I would have made her like this really exuberant theater kid. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, like a theater kid, like that kind of enthusiasm, and just steered into the skid with it, man. Like she's a goofy character. Make her a goofy character. If you think she's too goofy of a character to be in your movie, then don't put her in the movie. Pick some other Justice Society character to toss in there instead. You know, you already had Hawkman. Why not use Hawk Girl? Why not use Black Canary? Well, I guess because of Birds of Prey. Why not use I don't know, the female Dr. Midnight or something? I don't know. There's lots of different female characters you could have used if you just wanted to have a girl Justice Society member in there and you thought this one was too goofy. I'm going to talk more about the figure in a minute, but we've got more things to discuss. There is an action figure stand and a trading card. And I've been sitting on this figure for a while because even though I was willing to buy her for $6, I still wasn't too excited about the action figure. And the second one I mainly bought because I'm like, I had an idea for a custom to do with this figure. So look forward to that coming up at some point in the future. Well, we'll see what I do with it. But here's the trading card. Same piece of artwork we have on the back. Here's the figure stand, matte black figure stand with a glossy DC logo embossed onto it. So this is what the back of the trading card looks like, and it reads: Cyclone, Black Adam, data file, real name Maxine Hunkel. She is, I believe, the granddaughter of the original Red Tornado, Ma Hunkel. After being subjected to nanotechnology experiments by evil scientists at just 19, Maxine Hunkel is a force of nature, literally, with the ability to control wind with her mind. As the superhero Cyclone, she brings a special justice attitude, a social justice attitude, and a unique power set to the Justice Society. So there's her trading card. Now let's have a look at the accessory she comes with, which is this little plastic Cyclone. And if you look on the inside of it, you can see that there's a little peg for the figure to stand on. If you look at the bottom of it, you can see there's a little hole for the stand to go into. Where did I put that action figure stand? All right. So what we can do is you could just, you don't even really need the figure stand. You could, this will stand on your table just fine. But, you know, if you want to have the figure stand on there, it'll plug into the bottom. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So you just line that up with the peg and voila, there we go. Got the Cyclone on the figure stand. And then we can place Cyclone herself inside of it. Now, the original Red Tornado, Ma Hunkel, she didn't have any superpowers. She was just a tough old broad who, solved crimes with her fists. So yeah, you can stand her inside of it so she looks like she's whipping up the Cyclone. You can her arms out to the side. Maybe try to stand her in such a way where it looks more like she's floating inside of it than just kind of standing inside of it. But yeah, you can display her on your shelf that way. So, but her daughter does have wind, or granddaughter does have wind powers. So, yeah, she's got this green plastic dress. It's like a soft, rubbery plastic, and it's one of those where it's like this kind of sheath that goes over the whole torso. And she has articulation underneath, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly what. I can't really get a good look at it, but she does look like she has like an ab piece in the middle, and yeah, that should all fit together nicely. And then so she's got this dress which almost looks like from the, like, it looks like if you took a dress from like the 1800s and just cut the skirt off of it. That's what it looks like. It's even a little too short to be a mini skirt, and you see it's kind of split at the sides. But then she's got those leather pants underneath. So the leather pants is what I think, like I said, that's what I think kind of ruins this costume. And I think it would have been a lot more interesting if she'd have had those stripy tights. Maybe do something where it's like the stripy tights with like some fishnets over it, and the fishnets are kind of torn. Give her a little bit of a punk rock kind of look. Bobby Wald says, I don't know how they can have Henry Winkler in that movie and not in a superhero costume, literally jumping the shark. Well, some people might argue that movie figuratively jumped the shark. I enjoyed it. I don't care. I loved Black Adam. I had a fun time watching it. I'm not gonna lie about it. That was. I liked seeing the Justice Society characters. Doctor Fate was awesome. Hawkman was awesome. The Rock. I thought he did a good job playing Black Adam. He was fine. Uh, this character and Atom Smasher, I kind of feel like they were just kind of there. They weren't bad characters, but they didn't get as much to do as Hawkman and Doctor Fate, as far as the Justice Society members go. But yeah, I was really happy to have Henry Winkler in there as the original Adam, Al Pratt. That was a lot of fun. I don't think Henry Winkler is like the tallest dude in real life either. I think he's like 5'7", or he's not short, but he's not like particularly tall. He's a little slightly less than average height, I'd say. But then, and she's got this breastplate on the front, and it's got this little tornado emblem that does look very similar. I don't know if I can get it to focus because it's so tiny, but it does look kind of similar to the original red tornado emblem, where it's just kind of like this scribbly little tornado on there. And for whatever reason, she's wearing only one glove, like she's Michael Jackson or something. It's a fingerless glove. She's got a solid fist. The other hand is open. And I think they did a really nice job sculpting the hair. She's got all this curly red hair, which the character in the comic book had just like this head full of wild red hair. The character in the original comic book was just straight up a ginger. But this actress, I believe, is I don't know what her exact ethnicity is, but I believe she's of mixed race. And like they kept the red hair, and that's what I think is the most important thing. So I did not have a problem with the race swapping at all. I thought the actress was fine. I thought she did a fine job. You know me, you've heard me discuss the race swapping of characters on this channel before, and I honestly feel like my rule about race swapping is that if it's an actor that if I ignore the fact that the character is one race and the actor is another, can I think of a better actor? And if the answer is no, then I don't have a problem with it. Just straight up, like Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. If I ignore the fact that Perry White is Caucasian in the comics and Lawrence Fishburne is a black man, if I ignore that, I can't think of a better actor to play Perry White. Take that out of the equation, he's the perfect guy. So I'm not going to have a problem with it. I usually have a problem with it when it's just because you want, less because you want an actor to play that character and more because you want that character to be the actor. You know what I mean? And honestly, I have a problem with that even when it's like the same race a lot of the time. Sometimes I don't care. Like Jack Nicholson is the Joker. Obviously, they wanted the Joker to be Jack Nicholson. But I think that works because Jack Nicholson already has a personality that's really close to what you would want the Joker to be anyway. So, and I don't think on the writing level, this character had a lot of the aspects that I really enjoyed about this character in the comics. Like I said, I kind of felt like they made her a little bland, but it's got nothing to do with the actress. I thought the actress did a good job with the material that she was given. I just think she needed to be kind of more bubbly and enthusiastic, and like I said, a theater kid. Bobby Wald says, I would be interested in seeing Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. Yes, exactly. That's another good example of that. If I ignore the fact that Harvey Dent is Caucasian in the comics and that Billy D. Williams is a black guy, there's not a better guy to play Harvey Dent. He's perfect. Like I would take him even over most white guys. like at that time, he had that kind of, you want Harvey Dent to be that kind of smooth character, and at the time I don't think there was anybody smoother than Billy D. Williams, let's be honest. So and I was really looking forward to that because I saw that Harvey Dent was in the Batman movie, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna become Two-Face. At some point he's gonna become Two-Face. And unfortunately, by the time they got around to Two-Face, he turned into Tommy Lee Jones. But whatever. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on this character. So Cyclone cannot look up very far, which is always really disappointing in a flying character. She's just got all of that hair and is nicely sculpted and detailed and painted as this hair is, and it does look great. It doesn't afford a whole lot of articulation as far as that goes. She can look down a pretty good amount. That's a pretty good range of motion for looking down. Kind of tilt her head quizzically from side to side. In theory, the head rotates all the way around, but it also, like, again, because of the hair, just pops right off. So we're going to pop her head back on. There we go. So her arms can only raise up to the sides about that far because she's got those big poofy 1800s dress sleeves like I was talking about. The arms do rotate all the way around the shoulders. They've got a slight butterfly joint. The butterfly joint doesn't work that well, but it's still there. She's got a bicep swivel, so the bicep rotates all the way around, a little bit tight on mine. She's got double jointed elbows, and there. That's about the range of motion you get at elbows. She does have the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulations, so those can move around any which way you want to. She does have these kind of laces. You see where like her sleeve is laced up at the wrist there, and the laces kind of hang down. But I guess if you get her into that tornado pose, they look like they're kind of getting slung around. This is something I can understand, all these laces and tassels and everything from a costuming point of view in the movie, because then you've got things that can whip around when she's using her wind powers. But yeah, on the action figure, like sometimes they make it so that it's kind of awkward posing. Like if I have her hand just, it looks like they're levitating if I have her hand pointed up like that. But if I got it pointed out to the sides, as if she's in her Cyclone and doing her Cyclone thing, then it makes sense that they're kind of whipping around like that. So as I mentioned before, she's got that Mcfarlane torso articulation, but it is underneath this rubber sheath of a dress. So that's gonna, she can bend back pretty darn far though. That's pretty impressive. That does kind of make up for the her not being able to look up in the flight pattern. You can have her fly around like that. I guess that's kind of cool. So, but yeah, you can get some pretty good posing out of that. The skirt doesn't really interfere with it too much, probably because it's one, so short, and two, kind of split up the sides like that. Cyclone can kick up about that far, which is pretty decent. She's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. And she doesn't have any kind of boot cut, but the boots do rotate all the way around where the boots meet the ankle, and they rotate all the way around where the ankle meets the shin and where the shin meets the foot. And then her foot can point down about that far. It can point up about that far, and it's got toe articulation just to show off. I do really like these boots. They're nice, clunky, look like Doc Martens kind of boots with nice, thick soles. This is the kind of boots that when I was her age, and a lot of the college girls that I would date at the time, they had the nice clunky boots like that. So I was a big fan of that. Bobby Wald asked, does she come with any vortex or twister effect? Well, she does have the little stand piece here. She came with that. That I think is pretty cool. But doesn't have any kind of anything that snaps onto her hands or anything like that, which would have been nice. Would have been very nice. But anyway, but yeah, you can kind of pose her inside of that. It's only got one foot peg, but yeah, you can get some interesting poses out of it. So yeah, I wasn't really too excited about this figure. Like I said, it was one where I kind of felt like the design in the movie was one of the weaker designs, and they probably could have done a better job with it in the movie. So obviously Mcfarlane didn't have a whole lot to work with. This was what they had to work with, and this was what they gave us. And I think they did a really good job with the material that they were given. Just like I feel like the actress did a good job with the material she was given. I kind of feel like this was a character that they kind of failed at the script level. I think that that was one where, like, and honestly, they had a lot of characters in that movie, and they had a lot going on, and I can kind of forgive some of the characters. She was just kind of a background character, and I don't think they really put as much thought into her as maybe they should have, and absolutely not as much as they could have. But yeah, like it's not a bad figure though. It's an okay figure. She'll be a figure that'll look fine standing with the rest of my Justice Society figures. So the main reason I decided to open her up at this point, and I was originally going to open her up a little bit earlier, but I decided to wait for a little bit, is because next I'm going to be moving on to some Infinity Incorporated and Justice Society characters, and those kind of blend together as far as I'm concerned. And that's going to segue into some Green Lantern stuff. So, my next episode, I figure I'm going to be a lot more excited about. My next episode is going to be Mr. Bones, and he looks really freaking cool. I'm really excited to open up this character. He's a really interesting character in the comic book, so we'll have a lot to talk about with him. And then we've got Obsidian, which I got him around the same time, so I'll open him up after Mr. Bones. And then I will finally be opening up the action figure of Jade that I got actually a few months ago, and I hadn't gotten around to opening her up for whatever reason. But then I realized, oh, well, I've got a bunch of Green Lantern figures to open up. She's a Green Lantern character, so she's the daughter of the original Green Lantern. So I can open her up with those Green Lantern figures. And then I saw they had Obsidian up for pre-order, Jade's brother, their brother and sister, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll wait to open Jade up until I have Obsidian, and then I'll segue into those Green Lantern figures. So I'm just trying to find ways to fill time as far as that goes. But to do open Cyclone, and that'll lead into Mr. Bones, and Mr. Bones will lead into Obsidian, and Obsidian leads into Jade, and then Jade leads into Green Lantern. That's fine. And then we've got a lot of cool stuff up on the way, because once I get my order in from Big Bad Toy Store, my most recent order, I got a lot of G.I. Joe stuff in there. And I got this guy recently, the 90s version of Snake Eyes, which I'm looking forward to opening up. So I've got him. I've got what else did I have? I had Footloose. I had the Frag Viper. I've got Flint, the retro card Flint, the retro card Cover Girl, and then in my Big Bad Toy Store order, I've got Law and Order, and I've got finally got Dial Tone on the way. So that's exciting. Masters of the Universe, got a ton of Masters of the Universe coming. We got the Masterverse versions of Tila and Cobra Khan. We've got the cartoon collection versions of Bo and Shadow Weaver and Whiplash. We've got the Thundercats version of He-Man and Battle Cat Man. And we've got the Turtles of Grayskull version of Ram Man, which I picked him up for cheap when they had him on sale at the Walmart by my work. And we still got more DC Multiverse as far as like some Superman characters and stuff like that. A lot of really cool stuff to open. Bobby Wald says, I like to see when they had the DC versus Master Universe 2-pack, Skeletor versus Mr. Bones. Yeah, like that one they did Lex Luthor, which I guess makes sense because the first set they did was, Superman versus He-Man. So, He-Man's enemy with Superman's enemy. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, like if you look at the sort of the sneak preview, if you look at the head sculpt on this guy, he looks really great. And this was a character that this was some of the earliest comics Todd McFarlane drew. He's got the artwork on the back. It looks a lot like the way that McFarlane drew his skull on there. So this was one where like McFarlane probably had like a little bit of nostalgia, and this is like, this is where I got my start. Don't mess this one up, guys. This was like one of the first super characters I designed. He started off as a super villain and then became a superhero, and now he's like a CIA type character. I forget what they call that, the DC. Don't tell me, it's on the tip of my tongue. He was with Argus. That's what he was with. So, but yeah, he's basically like a Cloak and Dagger type. He wears a suit now, but not a super villain superhero costume. But I'll have a lot more to say about this costume when I actually open up the figure. There's some history to this costume. I say Todd McFarlane designed this character, but it's it's really more of a redesign and adaptation of another character. If you know, you know. So anyway, and yeah, the Superboy figure of all the Superman figures I want to open, that's the one that I'm planning to open with Captain Half Fun whenever we can get back together. And I've just been so busy these past couple of weeks. I haven't even bothered to reach out to him because I just don't have any time to do anything like that right now. Like, and I really want to. I've been wanting to for a while, but like for a while, my schedule was kind of open, a little too open. I wasn't having enough hours, and now as it is, my schedule is completely closed up. I don't have any days off right now, so when it rains, it pours. But hopefully soon, me and him can get together, and I can go ahead and open this one up. And it's going to be around that time that I open up the rest of the Superman figures that I have, the two Superman movie figures that I have, which is Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific. And then we've got the Eradicator Superman and the black suit bearded Superman. Got a lot of cool stuff on the way. So if you want to make sure you don't miss any of that, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Cyclone. Where did she go? There she is. Let me know what you think about Cyclone, both the character in general and this figure specifically. And maybe you think I was a little too harsh on this particular design for Cyclone. Maybe you liked this one. Maybe you thought this one was an improvement over her comic book outfit. And if you think so, let me know in the comments. But like I said, I kind of feel like in the comics, this was a character that came across to me as being kind of quirky and enthusiastic and like a theater kid. And I don't think they quite nailed that in the movie. And again, not trying to blame the actress. I think the actress was fine, but it was a problem at the script level. That's what I think. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.